Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan, and it's a wealthy life. This morning, it is absolutely gorgeous. Man, it's like blue skies, one of these crisp fall mornings. The frost is on the ground, and I'm here at the lake in my neighborhood, and the colors are just gorgeous today. It's like late October, you know. I wanted to follow up to my last video talking about your career, and the more moves you make, sometimes more money you can make, right? And that's only part of it, though. The other part to being successful in your career and building wealth is finishing projects. And what do I mean by that? Well, the last 10% of your work is where you make your money. I'll say that again. The last 10% is where you make the money. Pretty much everything you do in your career, whether it's a project, whether it's a task, that last 10% is the most time-consuming and difficult work. The first 90% is the fun part. That's the easy part, right? If it's a project, let's just go with like building a house. Let's say you're a house builder, you're a contractor. And that first 90% is putting up the walls, the studs. There's a little bit of work there, measuring, putting up the drywall, putting in the electrical. That stuff all goes really fast, honestly. It's not that bad. It's kind of fun, actually. I finished a few projects in my house. I did my basement, and that was a lot of fun. But that last 10%, that's what takes the time. It's called the polishing part. And that's the difference between a professional and a non-professional. That's typically the difference between someone who's experienced and someone who's not. Because that last 10%, it's all up here, all right? It's a mindset that in order to finish that last 10%, the polishing part, right? When I say polishing, right? Let's say you build a dresser, that's your business. You build dressers and you sell them. It's easy to build that dresser, measure the parts, put the drawers together, right? But if you don't polish that dresser, no one's gonna buy it, right? You're gonna have this dresser, you're not gonna sand it, it's gonna have sharp edges. No one's gonna wanna buy that, right? You gotta sand that dresser down. You gotta polish that dresser. You gotta stain that dresser. All that stuff, all those final touches is the hardest work. It's the most mentally draining work. You need mental fortitude to be able to finish and polish that product. And it goes for your career, right? Any project that gets started, sometimes it's hard to start that project, to get that mental capacity to say, hey, I need to start this new thing, right? But once you get going on it, that first 90%, it's fun. You're putting things together, you're getting things working, things look like they're progressing, right? And so it gives you motivation to move forward, right? Your brain doesn't require that much work if it sees progress, right? But that final 10% where you're polishing the product, it doesn't look like there's much progress going on, right? Like, I'll give you an example. In my career, I write software for a living, and I'll build all these features in the software, and I'll see progress. I can even show demos. Everyone's like happy, everything's great. Oh, everyone's seeing progress, right? And like, oh, everyone assumes, oh, the feature's done, right? But it's not. Like, people forget, like, the pixels need to be perfectly aligned, right? The warning message when you go to delete something in a record, that's got to be there. The workflow's got to be there. All this stuff has to be, polished in order for your customers to be happy. And your customers could be external people, could be internal people, your boss, right? They may not see all those details, but they're there, right? But that's the difference between a professional and a non-professional. And it goes across the board. It's not just people in software. It's not just, it's anyone who's doing any type of project. Like I'll go back to like my house in my personal life as well, right? I got my floors done. I didn't do the flooring part because that's really difficult. I'm not skilled in that area, but I had to do the cord around, right? You got to put cord around or over ceramic tile, porcelain tile. And, you know, I had to paint all the cord around. That was very mundane, right? And it was all I don't know, like 1,100 square feet of it. But then, you know, the contractor laid the cord around down, got it all nailed down, right? And so you got all these little tiny holes around the cord around, and you got little gaps in the corners. Well, you could leave it like that, right? It looks okay. But if you were to show your house, if you were trying to sell your house to get that value out of your house, and somebody comes to your house and they're particular about quality, they're going to see those little tiny holes in the cord around. They're going to see the little gaps in the corners, right? You got to caulk those gaps. And that caulk may not match perfectly the paint of the cord around, right? Your trim. And so you got to go around and paint those little touch-ups. That's part of the polishing process. And that is the last 10% of a project that just takes a long time, right? But that's where the value is in any product, right? Let's say you're selling a toy, a figure, right? And you know, you cut a corner and you don't paint the head, for example, I don't know, or maybe you don't paint the feet, right? Somebody's going to look at that, whoever buys that, and they're not going to like it. Like, they're going to be annoyed. Now, do they return it? Not necessarily, right? But will they come back for more of your products, right? Where there's lack of quality? Maybe not, right? Maybe the kid's disappointed, right? But adults, right, they're more picky, right? They're gonna buy a product, and if there's quality problems, you know, they may return it. You're gonna lose money there. What else? They may not return it, but they may not come back, right? They may be satisfied with, you know, the mediocrity of the product, and, you know, they may use it, but they may not come back, right? I mean, companies like Apple, for example, their customers come back. There's a reason why they are the $3 trillion market cap behemoth, right? They polish their products. When you buy Apple products, they're polished. And I'm not an Apple fanboy. I don't even have an iPhone or any of that stuff. But you know what I am? I'm an Apple shareholder. I've been an Apple shareholder since 2011. And you know why? Because they polish. That last 10%, that's their value. That's how they sell people on everything. So in your career, the next time you're doing a project, the fun part, it's that first 90%, right? You're going to have a blast. It's fun. Everyone's motivated. Things are getting done. But it's that last 10%. That's where you make your money. Just remember that. And as well to my kids, that last 10%, that's where you make your money. So anyways, it was just a gorgeous morning. I figured I'd come out, express this thought. I'll probably mention it again in future videos. And if you guys enjoy this content, please subscribe and, you know, help the YouTube algorithm by liking the video and all that. That's great. And everyone have a beautiful day. Thanks. Bye.